Okay, now we get to talk about yellows, and I'm yellow, so you know that I have a bit of a bias. Like, I love them to death. Sometimes I want to kill them, but I do love them. Yellows are driven by fun. Honestly, what makes yellows tick is they live in the moment. I remember the book that was written many years ago called Don't Sweat the Small Stuff, and I'm like, people bought this book? Are you kidding me? Of course I don't sweat the small stuff. Yellows don't do that. They truly are comfortable in their own skin and whatever they're doing at that moment. They're not thinking about what they should be doing, where they should be. They're happy where they are. In fact, yellows, by the way, wake up happy. Did you know that? They wake up in the morning happy. I remember one time I was working on being thoughtful. And that's not a real yellow trait, because yellows are kind of self-centered. And my blue wife said to me, oh, thoughtful, that's a real big one. I'm glad you're working on that one. As though it's an easy one. And I said to her, okay, you wake up happy every day and see how that works. And she was hysterical. She laughed and said, I never thought about that. I said, it's funny how we just take for granted things that we are. We don't realize how much it means. But as a yellow, I love the fact that I start my day right. I don't start worrying about what I'm going to do. Yellows are very, very engaging. They like people. They like to be around people. They can talk to a stranger anywhere. It's so funny. I never worry about getting lost because I'll ask somebody. And I'm always blown away when someone sends me the wrong direction. I can't imagine. Very trusting. Yellows always believe the best in other people. They don't believe people have bad agendas. When I was first working in the field of psychology, I struggled when I recognized how some people have very unclean, dirty motives, and they don't want the best for everybody around them. As a yellow, I really couldn't comprehend that. Yellows tend to have a natural innocence and belief in humanity that it's all going to work out. Yellows have a belief, by the way, of optimism. It doesn't matter what's going on today, tomorrow will be better. Even when they want to feel down, they can't stay there. It doesn't feel right to them. It just feels wrong on every level. So yellows have a way of getting up on their feet and moving forward, even though they struggle with things in life. They don't tend to wear that on their sleeve. They don't tend to share that with other people. They don't tend to need a lot of nurturing. They tend to, if you're upbeat and positive around a yellow, you'll find they're very engaging of moving on with life. Now, the negative side to yellows can be very self-centered. Like, very rarely do two yellows marry. And the reason for that is because they both want center stage. Well, there's only one center. And so yellows tend to struggle with sharing the limelight with other people. They are very playful, but they can also be irresponsible, meaning that they're engaging in something for a good time, but they don't really think about the outcome or the consequences. One of the hardest things dealing with yellow teenagers, for example, is they don't think about what this behavior is going to cost me down the road. So a lot of yellow get slipped up on doing things that are in the moment crazy fun, but not great long term. The irresponsible and uncommitted. I mean, I was engaged 5 times. I didn't mean to be engaged 5 times. I just thought engagement was when you started to decide if you want to marry them or not. And I always was great friends with every one of the girls that I broke up with. I still, to this day, think the world of them. But yellows don't tend to commit very, very well. Long term for us is 5 minutes. So when you're thinking about how long you have to commit in marriage or to business, many yellows struggle with doing that long term. So commitment, responsibility, discipline. I remember one yellow that came to me and said, I want to lose weight, but I want to have fun doing it. So for 1 year, she worked on losing her weight. But she always did a different diet, never the same diet, because that would bore her. So after 366 diets, 2 in 1 day, she hadn't lost a pound. She said, was that not a great year? That's a classic yellow. They're enjoying the experience, not necessarily the outcome. Yellows don't often want to look at the reality. Yellows will often kind of let life slide by rather than taking responsibility for the moment and doing things now that will build for the future because they're having so much fun in what they're doing in that moment. On the other hand, wherever they end up, they tend to find a smile. At the end of the day, whatever a yellow does, they will tend to be happy with it. Yellows do have the magic of spice. They're kind of like the whipped cream on the cake. That's what they bring is whipped cream. So if you don't like whipped cream or you don't like the spice, you're probably going to struggle with the magic of what yellows bring. And you know what? Yellows don't care because they'll go find somebody else who can adore them.